session, we will get videos of the sessions posted up to Yahoo's YDM Theater on YouTube. There's no Hadoop Users Group meeting in December, so no meeting next month. Our next meeting will be in January. It's always the third Wednesday of the month. And of course, tonight's food and beer is sponsored by Yahoo. So I hope you enjoy that. And we're always looking for additional speakers. So tonight we've got some great speakers. You know, one of the things that makes the Hadoop Users Group work, that makes user group communities work, is by some of you getting up here and telling us a little bit more about what you're doing with Hadoop, what problems you're solving there, what innovative things you're doing with Hadoop. So certainly we're looking for speakers. So if you have something interesting you'd like to share about Hadoop, please come up and see me again. I'm Nathan Trueblood from Yahoo, so come find me and we'll get you scheduled to speak. Also, if there's a particular topic you want to hear about, please put your suggestions. I've got the Meetup site up there. Please submit your suggestions to the Hadoop Users Group Meetup site. And if there's particular speakers that you'd like to hear, let me know about those folks, and we'll try to chase them down and see if we can get more people in here to talk. Also, of course, you know, if you want to step up and sponsor food, beer, dessert, whatever it is, we're always happy to have some participation there as well, so please see me about that too. So with that, I'll turn it over to our first speaker, which is Mohammad Islam. He's one of our architect developers on the Oozie team. He's going to tell us a bit more about what Yahoo's doing with Oozie.
Thank you, Nathan. As he told, my name is Mohammad Islam. I will give the presentation today. The title is Oozie Futures, Gateway to the Hadoop Ecosystem. So I will start with some Oozie quick overview. And this will give you some introductions, like whoever is new to the Oozie. And this might be some repeat for some of the experienced person who actually already use Oozie or know a lot about Oozie. Then I will go to the next section, that is actually what we are currently working, what are the new features that are coming in the next release. I will talk about some of the architecture and design challenges. And then I will talk about some future work that we are planning to accomplish in our future. And I will end up with a Q&A session. So what happens is in Hadoop world, every month there is at least one new product is coming. And then the funny thing is everything has somehow related to the animal world. Like looks like a Hadoop world is a safari or a zoo. So it is hard to keep in touch actually what product I need, what I need to use it. So from that point, actually, I am trying to say that Oozie is there for 2.5 years. And before going into the details of what is Oozie, I want to give you a feeling that where actually Oozie fits into the current ecosystem. So these are the Hadoop core system. And there are some other products, there are very well-known products out there. Oozie is coming up to wrap up all these products. And we use it, make it easier for the user, and coordinate and synchronize all of these products for the user. I will go to the details of this Oozie things, what it does. This is from the different angle to the people, like from the music lover to the like the music or art cultural thing for them. Close similarity of Oozie. Like if you see that every people in there, they are doing their own work, but one of the entities here, that is a robot, that is controlling and managing the whole everybody. And ultimately we are getting a good, beautiful music. And Oozie is this robot. And just consider all of these things are a different product and different animal product like pig, hive, and all of these things. One of the funny things on the left on the top corner there, that guy is not doing anything. Oozie can deal with this type of people who goes out of the sea. Oozie can deal with. So let's go now to deep dive, little deep dive of these Oozie things. What Oozie does? Some of the slides that I told you might be repeat for some of the old people there. So it is a one-flow engine. What it does actually in one application, you might have a 10 or 20 jobs. Something is MapReduce, something is T, something is I. Consider any type of application in your job you have. All of these things we are calling the application. But they are somehow related to each other. It could be sequential, it could be conditionally related based on some condition. So Oozie is providing a framework to stitch all of these bits and pieces together, and we call it a workflow. And if you see that this is a DAG, we call it a DAG also, direct acyclic graph, and each of the green boxes is the actual execution engine. So these boxes could be MapReduce job, it could be peak job, this could be Hive job, it could be any other application or any other job it could be. Oozie is a scheduler. What does it schedule? It schedule based on time. Close similarity is the Unix cron jobs that actually run every hour. If you can configure it, at the end of the day you want to run some application, some job, Oozie can do it for you. More importantly, you can do that data dependency. What is the requirement for that? Some application you are running it, but you know that it depends on some of the data. If that data is not there, you should not even execute this job. You should wait. Oozie is giving you that infrastructure for you. You can tell, okay, I depend on this job, hold up my job, don't run my job until this data is available. This will be another one. Before going for these details of the slide, let me give you some context. How currently the developer are working on that. There will be two ways. One is that every developer set up their client environment on their own PC. They have a Hadoop cluster there, but on their own box they install the Hadoop client, they install the peak client, Hive client, whatever application you think that. Then they use their command line to submit the job. Then another approach that is little better than this approach, that is in place of every developer keeping their own client instances and maintaining the version of different products. There will be one common place, we call it a gateway. On that boxes, somebody else will maintain this product, and everybody log into the box and submit their job from their gateway box. Both of them has their shortcuts. So that's why somebody is telling actually, if I got a abstract view, what I am running through the command line, without installing any of the client package, if I get a REST API, where I will pass all of my command line argument, and that will run my job, and do the work for me. It is very convenient for everyone. So keeping this in mind, Oozie is providing this REST API, and currently MapReduce and peak job can be run without writing any details of them. Only the configuration command line parameter can be given, and Oozie will run for it. Till now I went to the 5 slides or 6 slides. I know there is still some of the people you are thinking, do I need a one more system? Do I need Oozie? Does my application need Oozie? So I'm sure that this is a correct question and valid question, because product will come, you need to be cautious before deciding any one or the other. So for those people, I have these 3 questions to decide. Do you have any multiple jobs that has a dependency? Somewhere the dependency is like that. Do you have a job that has a like time-based concept or data dependency? Do you have something like that? These 2 I already described in some of the slides, previous slides. The third one I never described, and that is often being forgotten at the very beginning of the development phase. Developer is always thinking, I develop my product, very good product, it is running very good. That is only 2 months or 3 months cycle. After that, the same product run on the production for a long time, in years. But most of the time we do not care at the very beginning that how it will run, how it will be managed. This is the operational nightmare. That your job failed, nobody knows. You cannot assign somebody continuously to whether my job failed. So those type of things you can manage it, you can monitor it, and do you need have this requirement? that somebody will notify you, somebody will ping you, somebody will send an email that your job failed. Then another user. You submitted 10 jobs somewhere without it. So out of them, you find out there is a mistake in your job submission. Some configuration was wrong, something was wrong. Now you need to read out. But you find it out, first 4 was fine. The rest of the 6 has the issue. Who will give this you a very easy way to control these type of things? I do not want to run 10, read out those 10 jobs. I want to run only part of the partial read out, we call it, we need it. Do you have any of this type of report? If any of the answer is yes, I would strongly suggest to consider Oozie to implement. Till now I was talking too much about Oozie. Now I am coming to the ground and tell what Oozie cannot do and what is not Oozie. So, first thing, Oozie is not a resource scheduler. Ideally, we outsource that things to the Hadoop. They are taking care of that. And Oozie is not for off-grid scheduling. By off-grid, I mean Hadoop off Hadoop cluster. We are mainly Hadoop cluster application. But there is some caveats and notes in there that if you want to run some application outside the Hadoop grid, you can do that still, execute it. You can specify run this application to a specific IP address or a specific box because your setup is already being maintained on that box. So you have to run your application on that box. Oozie can do that, but Oozie is not for scheduling or managing those outside Hadoop resources. Then there is other things. Also, if you have a couple of jobs you run occasionally, in that case, Oozie is not a must. Unless if you think that you like the REST API concept, like REST API is good, only that reason you should come to Oozie. Otherwise, I strongly suggest to read the other things. Next few slides are PR slide, public relationship slide or marketing slides. Those are numbers, nothing technical. So we are telling that Oozie is in Apache. That means it is not nobody's own backyard product. It is everybody's product. Anybody can come and give their comment. They can give any suggestions. They can try the product, and it is open to everybody. Oozie is one of the these are the main contributors I listed here. Others are also there. So at Yahoo we have a very big team with a dedicated QE team, dedicated product team, and dedicated development teams. Cloudera has a very strong team there too. They are actually providing good features and contributing. eBay has their own committers and they are also committing to us. eBay is also in the same boat. These are some numbers to convince you that a lot of people are using and it is active product, and those numbers are there, those numbers say for themselves. I have to just mention that in internal Yahoo, we have a 375 users are currently using Oozie, and they are submitting a lot of jobs, 750,000 jobs per month is being executed through Oozie. In external world, those many downloads are there, 2,500 downloads. However, like Cloudera, they are packaging a lot of things together, and they are packaging Oozie also, but we do not know the exact number. It is hard to quantify which is any numbers like that. This is also show the community, the email community, how it is going on internally. We have that many users and there is a lot of message traffic is there. We are very active. Now let's look into the, come to the real world things, what we are working now. So, you know the Hadoop 23 is a very big overhaul of the Hadoop product. It's a totally big change. So we are working to make sure that Hadoop 23 and Oozie will work seamlessly for the user. Then Edge Catalog is a metadata system and it has very good features. We are providing the users so they can take advantage of the Edge Catalog features. One of the features that we are trying to adopt is the data dependency check that I mentioned. Currently we are using polling-based approach that is for the long term it is not a scalable solution. So we are trying to support this Edge Catalog based approach where in place of polling, Edge Catalog will notify us asynchronously when the data is available. So it will give us a very good feature. will support both polling and non-polling. Let's look at the usability front, what other features are coming. These are the people who know Oozie, they might find out this very helpful. Script action, we call it as a node. We saw that we have a node. In the node, we are providing a script. What does it mean? As a processing node, you are doing MapReduce job, peak job, then you might want to run a shell script. You might want to run a pod script. Your existing application is running there. And you might have a 10 Hadoop command you have to run. You can easily do it through these script actions, and Oozie will do it easily for you. DCP action is just to move data from one cluster to another cluster. So it is for data movement from different clusters. So DCP is a utility of Hadoop. So we are providing an easy way of doing it. Suspend action, this is a very high-end user usage. Just consider a case I have 20 nodes in my DAG, and I want to take some control myself, manual control. After running 7 nodes, I put a suspend node. What does it mean? After running till to the 7 nodes, you want to stop the processing. So it said stop and run, or run and stop. What happens is after this stop happens, the manual people will come. They will check the data whether things are progressing well. If they are happy, they unblock it, continue the rest of that. Otherwise, they can kill it at this point because they found out already something bad happened. There is no users to run it further. So this is the suspend action will provide this feature. Next one is the mini Oozie. This is for the developer only for their continuous integrations for easily doing. It's the equivalent of the mini cluster of Hadoop. The next one is the supporting multiple version. What does it mean? Like you know that every product has their version, and they are coming very often. What is happening for example, take a peak example, like peak 07 and 08. I write my application in peak 0.7. Some of my application is taking the benefit of peak 0.8. I do not want to, I want both. Some will run on peak 0.7, some will run on peak 0.8. Oozie is providing you an infrastructure where you can just say, I want to use 0.7. Oozie will make sure you are using 0.7. So those type of functionality is here. On the reliability front, there is a Hadoop level retry of job is there. This already tried the Hadoop level, tax level retry. Some user find out that okay, it will be useful if I have a more coarse-grained control. What does it mean? Like one of my MapReduce job, Oozie submitted and failed. Currently, if you submit one fail, that's it. You have to take manual action. They're telling, okay, in the midnight if it failed, who will be there to take care of it? What I want that there might be, most of the time these are the transient error. That if you try it after 5 minutes, it will succeed. So we are providing a way that can put you know that retry 3 times before make it fail. And between retries, just wait 10 minutes each. You can do that and Oozie will do it for you. High availability, this is a very well-known thing. In the last hard meeting, one presenter actually presented this, and the complaint was most of the Hadoop product does not have these features, that seamless failover is not there. We are working on that where it will be primary and secondary. If primary is down, secondary will take over seamlessly. In the manageability or monitoring side, we are already supporting some of the monitoring capabilities. Email action is another thing. What does it do actually? If your job failed, you want to send email. You can control it. Send email to XYZ. You can control it and Oozie providing the built-in features. Then the next one is actually a little complex, but I think this is a very important feature. That is, for any MapReduce job, we know that there is Hadoop counters are there. In peak 0.8 onwards, there is a peak stats. So these counters and stats, you guys, application can utilize it and take good decision on that. Take an example. That one of the node is MapReduce job. If you have to find out, okay, if that creates 2 million records as output, you want to follow a different path of your workflow. Otherwise, you want to follow this normal path. So you can control in the workflow level itself, in the runtime, based on the output of the previous workflow, you can control yourself. We call it the runtime control. This is one user. Second user is a more macro level. What does it do in the application user? It's not Oozie level. Application user submit the job, they query Oozie, give me all the stats, then they can decide. They can decide that, like if the previous job created 2 terabytes of data. That means my next job need to be configured accordingly. I need more slot, more memory, my next job submission. You can control it. So those are probably helpful for the application level. Now change the challenges part. These challenges have the 2 issues, 2 perspectives. Before going to the details, let's hear. So one of the issues is actually these challenges, primary intention is to see some of the nitty-gritty details of Oozie, that what type of challenge we know. And I know that some of the people might find it boring, and that is a challenge for them to keep their patience. And I can assure you within 2 or 3 minutes I will get rid of these details of deep dive of Oozie. So bear with me. So before going to the problem, let's give you some context. This queue, as soon as you use the word queue, everybody from the Hadoop world will tell, is it a queue problem in Hadoop? Their address is no. This is not a Hadoop queue problem. This is Oozie's internal queue problem. That queue is for our own processing. No user has interaction with that. Totally in our own world. So we find it out that in user level, this is the user level complaint. They submit a job, and at very high load situations, they kill a job. They find out after 1 hour, the job is still kicking. It's not being killed. What type of system it is? So we got this complaint. We dig into that and we find out technically what is the reason. So just to introduce some of this notation we have been used. If you look into the queue, that queue has 4 items there. Each of them assume there is a task, and each task is associated with a specific job. So 4 tasks is there, 2 tasks each for job 1 and 2 tasks for job 2. One of them has H, is high priority job. We are thinking of that. On the other side, on the right side, if you see, on the right side you see that there is a log is there. What happens when every task comes up? It first gets the log and then do the execution. If it does not get the logs, it requeues itself to the back. So if you see this animation part here, this job 2 comes, it the log, job 1 comes. It finds out the log is being already held by the previous one. So according to our beautiful current design, it will go to the back of the queue. And what will happen that when job 1 is being freed up, someone with low priority and that actually came late is being sucked. And this thing is repeatedly being happening, and this high priority one is being paralyzed. So we already know that what is happening here, this is called starvation. And then what we do, there is a lot of design choices we have, and a lot of constraints also there. I do not want to go into details of that. There is an easy solution you guys might think, but we actually adopted this thing and borrowed the idea from the operating system concept that generally used. They have interact list in the operating system level. We have also like interact list here, where does high priority job, as soon as it will come, it will put itself into the interrupt list, also into the queue. Top queue will be as it is today. Just we are keeping another list. So it will run it as it is now. I will tell at what time we change the little bit of logic. It will go still to the back of the queue. And when the competition will come at this time, that we find it out the top of this green or whatever greenish job 1 on the top of the queue is trying to, is about to be executed in our old design, but this time we put a logic that please check the interrupt list. If some high priorities are waiting there, please execute them, don't execute yourself. So in this case, there is the only change we did, and it is being executed fine. I'm done within 2 minutes. Now come look into the future. I think that what is happening actually frequently, what we do, we assess our position, we talk to our people, our product team goes to the user or internal user, we get the feedback from outside people. People give their honest opinion, and we try to prioritize based on that. This is one of the prioritization. Everybody comes first to the Oozie, they find out that adoption takes longer than they expected. So what is the reason? This is a very common thing. We accepted this criticism. We are planning to address this thing. So basically what is Oozie needs a design light XML file. That is a very long one and need to follow some XML and other things. A lot of people do not want to go to deep on that. So we are planning to provide a modeling tool where you will design this whole workflow in a UI and you will provide a configuration. The modeling tool will do the work of creating the job XML or Oozie XML on behalf of you. So this modeling tool we are planning to integrate into our IDE, maybe in Eclipse, so developer can easily utilize these features. And there is another one, the same in the workflow XML or our XML. What happened that same thing where user need to repeatedly define. This is not a good approach. We can easily abstract it out and put it into some global section and put it in one place that needs to be copied in other place by using it. So this is the feature we are planning to do it in immediate next release. Then there is another thing for notification. We are supporting 2 ways of notification currently. So this is the third way, and this is we think this will be the ultimate way. Hadoop is also probably coming to that. They are also working on that line. Like while Hadoop job will finish, probably I cannot talk on behalf of them, but I think they are talking. Like they will also notify to a JMS queue. That anybody can listen on that and they can decide what they need to do when their job succeeds or fail. On Oozie level also will provide the same type of thing. We'll write to JMS queue, then you guys can retrieve and consume that message. Then the another one is data processing, event-based. That we have a now time-based approach. There is some use case. I do not know when my data will come. It might come in 5 minutes or 5 days. But I want to run my application as soon as my data is there. This functionality is not there in current thing. We want to implement this thing based on these edge catalog implementations. Prioritizations is another use case people are asking. The use case you can consider, there will be event happen into the work. At that time, the news feed, for example, there is that Michael Jackson dies. At the time, everybody go to the news, want to read the current news. So news we need to run very quickly. Steve Jobs died. Bad thing, but still people are busy with digging into that. So what happens that we need to change the priority of the job based on some dynamic things. There is a different reason for this. The user wants that. So we are actually evaluating the approach of which place it needs to be done, whether in the Hadoop or it needs to be Oozie, or maybe in the both places. So we are planning to consider that in our release if it is in the Oozie field. Last 20-25 minutes I talked a lot of things. Now let's slow it down. And I'm concluding this, and I want to say this key information that I want to give you. That Oozie in Apache, that means open source. And it is Oozie is very stable, 2.5 years. A lot of people are using within Yahoo and externally. It is a very stable and it is very feature rich. And Oozie's community is increasing, Oozie's adoption is increasing very fast. Please join to the community, give your feedback, and guide the Oozie's future. Having said that, I would like to open up this question and answer session if you have any questions.
So let's say we have some variables defined in the property file and we want to transfer those variables directly into the workflow. How do we do that? Through the coordinator. Let's say we have something in coordinator. We want to use pass it from property to the coordinator and this coordinator to a workflow.
Just for new people, those who don't know this coordinator workflow, this answer might be a little bit of vague. But this is a very pointed question. There is a way, coordinator, if you see there is a configuration section is there, that action block is there. In the configuration section, if you define any properties there, whatever property, if your property is A equal to 3, this value should be propagated to the workflow level, and you can refer it $A into that one. That is the parameterization is being supported. If it's clear, like in coordinator XML, you have a configuration section. You can define any variable there, like key value there, and this value will be automatically supplied to the Oozie or to the workflow. Okay. And if you have more questions, you can ask it to the user over session. Any questions? I will hand over to Nathan then. Thank you.
Thanks, Mohammad.